All right. This is supposed to be a fun live stream, go live and talk about Matthew Stafford being back with the Rams. I'm rocking the Stafford jersey, but I don't even know if I'm live right now. So hopefully I am. I'm trying to figure that out right now. Just a lot of different things going on. Kind of crazy, just everything in general. I think we are live, but for whatever reason, we're not live on the one that I want to be live on. So, all right, bear with me, folks. This has been a pain in the ass, but you know what? Sometimes things happen for a reason. And I'll tell you, last night, I was this close. If you're watching right now, don't know if you are, but this close to going and making a video and breaking down Aaron Rodgers tape. What ends up happening is Spectrum, because their service isn't the best, basically are like, yeah, this is going to be an outage until 4 a.m. So any content you wanted to make last night, you weren't going to be able to make. And I said, all right. So I went to bed. I never go to bed that early. Went to bed, woke up, and, Ian Rappaport, all that stuff starts coming out. And it sounds more and more and more like it's heading towards the direction of Matthew Stafford coming back to the Rams, which I am all for. And now it is official. The Rams have tweeted out Matthew Stafford is coming back to the Rams. We do not have details on what that looks like yet. We don't have the contract and all of that. But I'm going to explain kind of everything that I was hearing and kind of just let everybody know, what was going down, what went on, as soon as I figure out all of this stuff. So I'm trying to run a live stream while also trying to figure out why the other live streams, I don't know, are having so many issues. So yeah. All right. So let's see here. Make that. Yeah, it's weird. It just doesn't even look like I'm live right now. But apparently I am, so there's that. I don't know. All right. Once I figure this whole thing out, because again, I apologize if you're watching me. Just a lot of stuff going on with my Wi-Fi right now. Really frustrating. But basically, if you are watching me, we're going to get into the details of it. I do have a show at 3. So in an hour, Ethan Shirazi and I will be doing our first ever episode of Downtown Lakers. It's really that simple. So this won't be a super long live stream, but I wanted to put something out there, of course, and talk to you guys. And I miss going live. We haven't gone live since Cooper Kupp, right? The news that came out about Cooper Kupp. So I do want to go on live, and that's why I'm here. All right. I think we have it almost figured out. I think. we will see. Right now, it is a nightmare sorting through all this. Okay. I think we're good. So, yeah, welcome in, folks. Sorry, this is the most unprofessional live stream I think I've ever done. I've never had to go through whatever that just was, but we're here. And so look, we'll take it from the top. How did this happen? First off, I'm excited, obviously, really want people to understand this. I am quick to move on. I just am quick to move on from things. And the reality is that I was basically told by multiple sources that this was real. Matthew Stafford, in all likelihood, was going to play for the Raiders if the Rams didn't step up at the 11th hour and do something about it. I kept citing over and over and over again, kept sourcing the fact that the Yankees went through the same thing. Number 99 behind me, Aaron Judge, went through the same exact thing. He was getting paid more by the Padres, which were the team that came out after the fact, but he was getting pretty much guaranteed to go back to the Giants. Well, basically what ends up happening is that the owner of the Yankees, Hal Steinbrenner, steps in and is like, look, I don't want this guy to leave. Well, what is it going to take? And he steps up and he offers him, the money he wants to, feel appreciated and feel respected. And that's what ends up happening. So, look, I'll be honest with you. I said it. I never said 0% chance he comes back. But yes, I absolutely did not think he was coming back. And based on what I was told, I had no reason to believe he was coming back. But that doesn't mean for a second that I wasn't praying to God he would, not come back, okay? Because I was hoping so much for this guy to come back, because this is, in my opinion, the only quarterback that can win this team a Super Bowl. And I don't care what anyone says. I mean, anyone can win a Super Bowl, sure, but he's the only quarterback that I want quarterbacking this team. How many guys can you say have started 7 playoff games for a team, and every single playoff game, all 7 of them, he has outplayed the other quarterback? Keep in mind, that's Joe Burrow, that's Jalen Hurts, that's Tom Brady. Jared Goff, Kyler Murray, right? Like, he's outplayed every single quarterback he's gone up against in the postseason. I don't care what anyone says. So when I started talking about Aaron Rodgers, that was because I thought Stafford was out the door. And by all accounts, I wasn't the only one saying that. There were a lot of people that felt he was out the door. And I didn't really ever buy into the Giants thing, just because, here's the thing. The Raiders, no state income tax, Pete Carroll, win now coach, won a Super Bowl, Chip Kelly, kind of, versatile offensive coordinator, Tom Brady at the helm, and you have a lot of cap space, and you have some good picks. So I felt like, okay, that makes sense. What I didn't really understand is the Giants. I know they went out and they got Stafford's brother-in-law, Kelly's brother. I didn't understand the Giants as a fit for him. I get it for Joe Shane. I get it for Brian Dable. They are trying to keep their jobs. If they go out and get Stafford, they see it as a way to do that. But I never really understood it with the Giants for Stafford. Now, I didn't understand the Steelers. I didn't understand the Browns. I didn't understand the Titans. The Raiders are the one that I sat there and was like, he gets to stay on the West Coast. He would have a lot of salary cap, for that team to put some pieces around him. And no state income tax makes that contract worth more, plus Tom Brady, plus Pete Carroll. It's not like he's going to this rookie head coach and having to do it over again. Pete Carroll is a fiery personality. It'd be good to kind of end your career with that if you were going to leave the Rams. So I understood that. But I'll tell you right now, I am so glad that's not what happened, because it really felt just everything that I was hearing from multiple people, not just one person, but everything that I was hearing was that he was not returning, and it was not good. And look, put that aside. This is huge for the Rams, because now they get this taken care of before March. Now free agents will look at the Rams as, okay, they've figured this thing out. We know what we're getting ourselves into, all of that. And now I also think, whether the Rams want to or not, we still are awaiting some details on some contracts and things like that, and like what this looks like, because we don't have that. All we have right now is LA's quarterback is back. The Rams and Matthew Stafford reached agreement today on a restructured deal that keeps him in Los Angeles and quashes any and all trade speculation per sources. So that's the thing. That's all we know. And to be honest with you, this is what I'll take away from everything that I heard and now what is happening, okay? I think what happened is this. I think Matthew Stafford always wanted to be back with the Rams. And I think the idea of going to the Giants was never really there. I think they were more so leverage, right? Total leverage. So I think that Matthew Stafford always wanted to come back to the Rams. I think he knew in his heart this is where he wants to finish his career. He knew that Sean McVay and him work well as a tandem. And this was going to be, the best spot for him. That said, I also think that he wanted to feel appreciated, and I think he wanted more guaranteed money, because to be fair, Kirk Cousins is getting almost every dollar that he has fully guaranteed. And there are players that aren't as good as him that are around that age that are getting paid. And so I think he just wanted more guaranteed money. I think he wanted a little bit more stability. So instead of this year-to-year thing, which kept being reported by people like, oh, yeah, they're just going to go year to year. I kept hearing that, and I was like, I don't think Stafford just wants to go year to year. And you know what? This could very well end up being a year-to-year thing. This could very well end up being a one-year deal. I don't know. We don't have any details on it. But what I will tell you this is that I think Stafford always wanted to be back with the Rams. I think the Raiders' ideal was real. I think that was just all the stuff that came out about Tom Brady, I believe that to be real. I believe the Raiders viewed him as somebody they could come in, win now, get to the postseason, and kind of reset that culture. I do believe that to be the case. I just think that if the Rams at any point, and I never backed from this, if any point the Rams stepped up to the plate and he at least showed the ability to entertain what Stafford was asking for, then I think this was gonna happen. The reason why I was so unsure, or the reason why I think I said 1% or 2%, is because I didn't think the Rams were gonna do it. I really didn't. It didn't look that way. But, you live and you learn, and I think right now, I don't really give a rip how it happened. I don't care about anything. I'm glad the Rams have the best quarterback possible, under center, and I don't give a rippity doo-dah, as I always, as my co-host on Yankees Unloaded, Gary, says, I don't give a rippity doo-dah that, this, and this happened. I just wanted number 9 to be under center. And I think it says a lot to me that Tom Brady wanted Stafford. And I hope people give Stafford the respect he deserves, because this is one of the best quarterbacks in football. I think he would have given the Chiefs a better chance to win the Super Bowl than Patrick Mahomes did this past Super Bowl. I think it's time to start looking at him as, I understand, maybe the numbers have declined a little bit, but I don't think that's really on him. Looking what he does in January, that matters. You can't tell me all that matters is a ring, and then in January, we just nullify those statistics. Stafford is second, only behind Josh Allen, for the best active postseason passer rating in the NFL. I think what this does, though, is now that the Rams know where they stand, they're going to have Stafford back. We don't know what the details are. I don't think this changes anything with Cooper Kupp. I don't. I know some people are hoping it does. I'm not saying, like I said, what was it? A 2% chance Cooper Kupp comes back, or 10% chance? I think it was a 10% chance. I wouldn't be shocked if Cooper Kupp came back, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't. So, where does this leave the Rams? Well, you have other players. I know they're interested in Ahkello Witherspoon, bringing him back. I know they're interested in Alaric Jackson. They have to kind of figure that out. But I do think they are being penalized, whether you believe it or not. They are being penalized by the NFL. Any team is that does well. They're being penalized by the NFL because they draft well. Because the way the NFL is set up, there's no salary, there's no soft cap, so you can't go over your salary cap to pay back these guys. And there's no bird rights like the NBA. So because of that, unfortunately, the Rams have had to make some tough financial decisions. And let me make this very clear. I've heard from Rams fans on Twitter saying that Stan Kroenke is to blame for all this. He is absolutely not. Because one thing I can tell you is that Stan Kroenke does not care about spending money. He is not going to hold back the Rams based on money he spends, okay? That is not at all true. What is true is that the salary cap exists, and there's not a soft cap. There's only a hard cap. That is the NFL. You can't play above the salary cap. So look, I'll be honest with you. I feel for the Rams in that regard. And I think something needs to be done league-wide where you're not in a predicament where I've drafted and developed so well that now I have it's a good position to be in, a good problem to have, but also a bad problem because I drafted well with Jared Verse and Kobe Durant and Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk and Byron Young and all these guys, now I have to pay them all around the same time, which isn't really possible. See, back in the day, players used to be able to come back and it'd be, no worry at all. Back in the day, players would stick with the same team that they played for. Now that's not the case. So, look, Stafford chose less money. Like I said, Stafford chose less money to stay with the Rams. So we can stop with the whole he is selfish, he's money hungry. That was never the case. And I did say that. It came out that he wanted $50 million. I made sure that, to point out, he also wanted less money. He was willing to take less money. So this is great news. Let's be honest here. We don't know what the details are, but likely being he is going to take less money to stay with the Rams, and he's staying with the Rams. That's what we know. But I just have to tell you, I absolutely am relieved this is over, at least for now. Is it going to be a 2-year thing? Is it going to be a 1 year? I don't know. But at least for now, this is over. I can get back to focusing on the NFL draft, giving you guys that draft scouting content, focus on free agency, focus on the things I really want to focus on. I am not a reporter. I get some inside info. I sometimes will say it if I get the permission to do so, or if I have, multiple people, like whatever. But I really don't pull that card very often. I sit on a lot of info, and I have a way of doing things where, some of my videos might trigger the idea I know more than I do, which I normally, if I'm saying something like the Cooper Kupp video, stuff like that, right? But I think the big thing is I'm just so relieved that Stafford's back. He gives the Rams the best chance to win. I'm not going to say Aaron Rodgers couldn't have won a Super Bowl with the Rams. I think he absolutely could have. But I think Stafford, the margin for error is a lot thicker, whatever you want to call it, right? Fatter, thicker, whatever. The margin for error is way slimmer without Matthew Stafford. Things have to be, tip-top shape. It's really that simple. So that's what I'll say there. But look, I'm glad he's back. It really felt like it was going to have to be a Hail Mary. This was going to have to happen at the 11th hour, like the Judge thing, and it did. What does that mean for the Rams moving forward? That I don't know, but it's going to be interesting. I think now some things that were in play are, I think, out of play. I don't necessarily think Davante Adams comes to the Rams now. I think he goes wherever Stafford goes, Rodgers goes, unless Rodgers retires, which I still think is possible. I think there's a chance that Aaron Rodgers could retire, okay? I think there's a real chance Aaron Rodgers could retire now that Stafford chose the Rams. But Rodgers, make no mistake about it, was the backup option, and Jimmy Garoppolo after him. I never got the indication that Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, or Sam Darnold were even being considered. Sam Darnold had a lot of fans in that clubhouse last year, but I really do think as the season went on, the Rams soured on that, even if Stafford retired. So this is where we sit. Right now, we know Stafford's back. We know Kyren Williams is good to go for this year, and they're trying to work on a contract extension. We know that they have a third-round running back they're still high on in Blake Corum. We know that they want Jimmy Garoppolo back as the backup quarterback, and he wants to be back as the backup quarterback. We know that Cooper Kupp will not be returning, barring some crazy thing that happens. We know that Puka Nacua is their number one guy, and they're expecting to probably have to pay him sooner than later. Jordan Whittington is going to get an opportunity. No one else is on the roster aside from Xavier Smith at wide receiver. And then you have tight end. We know that Tyler Higbee is there. He played well down the stretch. Do they bring him back or not? I think they do. And I think Stafford being brought back only kind of adds on to that. We know that they are interested in tight ends. They have tried to make serious splashes in the draft, trading up for Dalton Kincaid 2 years back, and this past draft trying to trade up and get Brock Bowers. So we do know that they have interest in tight ends. We know that the offensive line needs to be shored up. They are looking to trade Jonah Jackson. Alaric Jackson is a free agent as it stands right now. If they don't do anything, they're going to have to decide whether or not to, use the tag, to not use the tag, so forth. Because I think using the tag there is possible. The Chiefs used the tag for Trey Smith, so I would say it's possible. I think Bo Limmer can feel very safe now at center, and they clearly like Steve Avila more at guard. Kevin Dotson's at guard. I don't think they move on from Havenstein like they might have had they gotten rid of or had they lost Matthew Stafford. And then on the defensive side, I think pretty much everything is in place. However, Do you want to upgrade that linebacker spot? Are you going to bring back Christian Roseboom? Are you going to bring back, somebody like a Michael Hoyt, right? Akello Witherspoon. What does that look like? Are you bringing back Darius Williams? He doesn't have a lot of guaranteed money left. Are you going to cut him? How does that work, right? Darion Kendrick, about $3 million against the cap. Are you going to keep him or are you going to cut him? There are some things that they need to iron out. I know they're also, clearly interested in some safeties in this draft as well as some cornerbacks. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I think right now the most important domino has fallen, and Matthew Stafford is back with the Rams after what sounded like there was no way in hell that he was going to be back. And I mean, you guys, obviously some people will disagree and say, well, I jumped the gun on that. There are a lot of people saying the same thing, and a lot of things changed in the last 24 hours. And now Matthew Stafford's back with the Rams. And I think we're all pretty happy about it. People that wanted draft picks for Matthew Stafford, let me just remind you this. I understand, draft picks are nice, especially the way these guys draft. But I'll tell you right now, there is a reason that Matthew Stafford, I believe, is worth the money that he's either going to make or he should make and he won't end up making. Matthew Stafford should be a top 5 paid quarterback. He should. He gives you the peace of mind when you get to the big game. He is not going to be the reason you lose said big game. He is going to be the guy that keeps you in said big game. He's going to give you the opportunity to win a David versus Goliath matchup. There's not many other quarterbacks that are going to give you that opportunity. You're not paying Matthew Stafford to win regular season games. You're paying Matthew Stafford to be consistent throughout the regular season, and you're paying him to ultimately outplay the guy on the other sidelines quarterback. You're ultimately paying him to outplay those guys when it comes January and February football. And for the most part, Matthew Stafford has done so. The 5-2 record with the Rams in the postseason, I don't think is because Stafford messed up. I think some things happened and they lost. But Stafford, make no mistake about it, has had 7 postseason games with the Rams, and he's outplayed quarterbacks in all 7 of those games. So this is great news. No one should be upset about this. No one. No Rams fan should be upset about this. What does this mean for the future? What does this mean for quarterback? I still think the Rams are going to want to focus on 2026 at quarterback. I am not ruling out them picking a quarterback this year, but I do expect Jimmy Garoppolo to be back, backing up Matthew Stafford. That is something that has felt very real. There's a lot of love there in that building for Garoppolo, and Garoppolo has a lot of love for the Rams. And he has come out and basically said, this is the best he's ever been treated, right? So, he didn't even start for this team, and clearly he feels love for this team. So, look, I'm going to tell you right now, I think, those are the 2 quarterbacks. I think Bennett's gone. Maybe they add a quarterback, maybe not. But 2026, they will definitely add a quarterback if they don't add one via the draft in 2025. Who are some options in 2025? Well, I mean, a lot of people are going to say Jackson Dart. I don't necessarily think with Stafford coming back that they're going to try and spend a really high pick on a quarterback. I could see them going more developmental, grabbing a guy in the 6th or the 5th or the 7th, something along those lines, maybe even UDFA. But I think right now the Rams are in a really good spot. I think you can pencil them back into the NFC title game as of right now. They're the second best team in the NFC with Matthew Stafford, only behind the Eagles. And that can obviously change. But that's how I feel currently in the offseason, before free agency. A lot of different things they can do. I do expect them to go hard after a pass catcher. People keep asking me. A lot of Rams fans are curious. Hey, Jake, what do you think they do in the first round of the draft? Do you think they trade down? Do you think they trade up? They could absolutely trade down. I would not be surprised if they traded out of the first round, traded down to the second, and, accumulated some picks. But there's also that 5th-year option. And as this becomes harder and harder and harder to manage, keep this in mind, folks. As this becomes harder and harder to manage, the thing that's going to help the Rams is that 5th-year option for Jared Verse. The thing that'll help the Rams is having more years and more years of control for these guys. And I think the 5th-year option matters. So I do think that they will likely want to stay in the first round because of that. Not saying they wouldn't trade out of it, but that fifth-year option is valuable. So I will tell you this. I think that they will likely trade up and get a pass catcher? Is that Ibuka from, Ohio State? Is that Matthew Golden from Texas? Is that Colston Loveland from Michigan? Does Tyler Warren fall far enough? I don't know. But I think that they're going to try and get a pass catcher. Now, I really believe they're going to double up. They're going to get at least one wide receiver and one tight end in the draft. Is that going to be a top tier wide receiver in the draft or, a top tier tight end? I don't know. I think it'll be top tier for one of those guys. I do. If I had to guess based on 26th overall, I would probably say that they try and get a Ibuka, and I would probably say in the third round they end up with Harold Fannin Jr. I feel like Fannin Jr. with Tyler Higbee does make some sense. I think that'd be a good tandem. We'll see how things happen, but yeah, that's really all I got for you guys. Quick live stream, not super quick, but I wanted to go live and, give my thoughts out there and just let people know, yeah, this thing was real. Brady really wanted him, and now we'll see what their pivot is. Do they try to move up to get the number 1 overall pick? Does the Giants do they do something like that? I don't know, but I don't really care. The Rams are going to have Matthew Stafford. They have unfinished business. It ended in Philly, but luckily that wasn't where Stafford's journey ended. So is he going to win another Super Bowl before he retires? That remains to be seen. I like the Rams odds a lot, and I can't bet against Sean McVay. Last thing I'll say is this. While it seems like the Rams had a lot of guys poached from their organization, and yes, to a degree, I'm a little concerned. James Gladstone knows everything that the Rams do, and he's over with the Jaguars, and the Jaguars could absolutely be looking at the Rams type of players. That is concerning. It's concerning. Obviously, Brad Holmes already has that with the Lions, and there are other guys that left as well. Like Nick Haley, knowing the way they, operate, he goes to the Texans. So I get that, but keep this in mind. A lot of that coaching staff was retained. So while I complain a lot about them getting poached, you get Stafford back, and a lot of the coaching staff is back as well. Do not sleep on this team. And the way they draft, definitely don't sleep on this team. So that is what I'm going to say. I am so glad he's back. I don't know if it's a year. I don't know if it's 2 years. I don't know what it looks like, but I don't really care. As of right now, I'm just glad that he's back. I'm glad that he is going to start in 2025. I think the coverage for the Rams this year would have been very interesting had Stafford left. I don't even want to think about that, but it's been a lot of different, wow, I can't believe we're living in this timeline type of stuff. So look, appreciate everybody who followed along throughout this process. I apologize if it's not exactly what you wanted as far as not the outcome, so to speak, but maybe just like if, the whole kind of switch up. But look, this is what I was told. I'm only human. And I appreciate everybody sticking with my coverage. Yeah, let's get back to it. Let's get back to work. Got the Lakers show in a half hour. Going to be over on the Downtown Lakers channel. So definitely be sure to check that out. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys for real. Really appreciate you guys. We just continue to grow on this channel. We're getting closer to the 30,000 mark, and I really feel like the sky's the limit on this channel, and I appreciate everybody because it's nonstop. It's really just nonstop with you guys. Just always supporting, always reaching out, always, DMing me. I was on vacation. You guys are like, hey, you haven't posted a video in 8 days. I check every day. The fact that that's even real, the fact that you guys care that much about what I have to say is really cool, and I don't take it for granted. So, look, I'd go longer, but I do have a show to prepare for, another show for the Lakers. We're still got plenty of Rams content. There'll be other videos on the channel today. I'm going to look at this thing a little bit more in depth. I really want to know the numbers and the contract details and all that. But for now, I am signing off. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, I can't even talk. Be sure to check out the sponsor of this video, which I am telling you at the very end, but I had a lot of information to get through. Sponsor of the video, which is Prize Picks. And man, I'll just tell you right now, Prize Picks with NCAA March Madness coming up and the MLB and the NBA and all of that, you definitely want to get in on the action. Use my code JKBogan. You'll get $50 instantly when you play at least a $5 lineup over on Prize Picks using their app or their website. But that is going to do it for me. You guys take care. Hope to see you guys over on the Lakers channel for you